afternoon and welcome to your math lesson for today. Before we left for spring break, we finished learning topic 7 in math, and we are going to be reviewing this week and taking our test on Friday. For today's review lesson, we are going to be completing a reteaching activity. I am going to show you how I want you to complete these questions, and then I'm going to have you complete them on your own. During our intervention time today, we will be going over your answers just to make sure that you mastered this skill. We are going to be working on page 315 in our Envisions Volume 1 workbook. If you need to get your workbook out or pause the video to get that page number open, you can do so now. Let's go ahead and get started on page 315. We are going to begin with set A. On the left side of the page, it shows an example of how they would like you to complete the number on the right side of the page. For set A, it says you can count by tens when you have a lot of objects to count. Here we have 10 frames, and we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. The first blank says there are blank tens. It wants to know how many of each 10 frames do we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We would say there are 6 tens. 6 tens is equal to 60. If you count 10 6 times, you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Then it asks for the word name for the number 60. I want you to do your best to sound out the word, or if you have someone who can help you spell it at home, you can also do that. Again, we will be checking your answers during our group time, so I can help you as well. It wants you to write the word for the number 60. It's 6 T. T-Y. That is how they would like you to complete number 1. Number 1 says, count by tens. Write the number 3 different ways. The 3 different ways are just like how we did in our example. It wants you to write how many tens there are, the number, and the word name. For the first blank, it wants you to go through and count how many tens frames there are. This here is 1 tens. Count how many there are and write that number in the blank. Then when writing the number, it wants to know how many total dots there are. This is where you will count by tens to find the number. Begin with 10 and count on till the end. Then write your number in the blank. Lastly, it wants you to write the word name. The number that you write here in the blank, it wants you to write the word. If you put the number 1, it wants you to write the word 1. If you counted 10, write the word 10 in the blank for word name. You can pause the video at any time to work on these problems. Let's begin looking at set B. If you are still working on set A, please pause the video now to continue working. If you are ready to work on set B, let's get started. For set B, it says you can use a number chart to count on by ones or tens. Here we have our number chart, beginning with 81 and ending with 120. When we look here at our chart, we see 81, 82, 83, 84, and so on. This number chart is counting on by ones. It then gives a pattern. We have 99, 100, and it wants you to continue counting on by ones. If we leave off at 100, next I would count 101, 102, 103. For number 2 and number 3, it wants you to use a number chart to count on. You can use the number chart that I gave you before spring break. For number 2, it wants you to count on by tens, beginning at 80 and counting on 4 more times. For number 3, it wants you to count by ones from 114 to 4 more on. Again, you can use a number chart to help you. So for number 2, begin at 80 and count on by tens. For number 3, count by ones, beginning at 114. And again, you can pause the video at any time. Now we are going to begin working on the last page of our reteaching activity. This will be on the next page, 316. If you are still working on the page before, you can pause the video now to continue working. If you are ready to begin working on set C, then let's begin. Set C says you can use an open number line to count on by ones or tens. Here we have 2 examples. The first open number line begins with 29 and jump counts by ones until it gets to 34. This is an example of using an open number line to count on by ones. The second example begins with 35 and skip counts to 44, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85. This is an example of using an open number line to count on by tens. With each jump, the number is increasing by tens. For number 4 and 5, it wants you to count on using the open number line. For number 4, it says start at 62 and count on by tens to 102. To begin, you will make your beginning dot here, and it says we are starting at 62, so you will write 62. It then says you will count on by tens to 102. You can put your ending dot here and write 102. Now, you can show jumping to count on by tens to get from 62 to 102. Remember that you can use your number chart. You are counting on by tens from 62 to 102. For number 5, it wants you to start at 97, count on by ones to 101. You will start by making your dot here, writing 97 for your starting point, and then I like to write my ending point so I know how much space I have. We are counting on by ones to 101. Now, you can jump count to count on by ones from 97 to 101. I am going to begin talking about set D, our last problem. If you are still working, please pause the video to continue. If you are ready to begin working on our last set, then let's get started. Set D begins with our robot friend saying thinking habits. Repeated reasoning. Does something repeat in this problem? How does that help? Is there a shortcut that makes sense? Number 6 says, count on by a number to find how many in all. 80 puzzle pieces are in the box. How many puzzle pieces are there in all? Explain how you counted. Then it wants you to write the total number of pieces. You will need to add the 80 pieces plus all of these loose pieces. You'll notice that there is a circle around these pieces here. Begin with counting these puzzle pieces and see if you can find a shortcut to help you count the rest of them. Don't forget, you are counting on from 80 pieces and adding the loose pieces together as well. When you find your answer, you will write it below in the blank for number 6. Just a reminder that we will be checking your answers during your math intervention group time. If you have any questions, please be sure to let me know. And as we are checking through your answers during our group time, if you have any questions there, be sure to let me know and also correct your answer on your paper. We will be continuing our review this week and taking our test on Friday. I will see you during your math intervention group time. Please be sure to have this activity done so that you will be ready to check your answers. I will see you then.